and you have heard me. I believe in your word. You have searched me and you love me. I believe in you, and you have opened us. We believe, oh, we believe, yeah. And you have broken the chains. We believe, yes we do. We believe, yeah. We believe. So just lift up your hands, lift up your voice as we sing to Him. We're going to tell Him that we believe. We believe in the price that He paid. We believe that He came. We believe that He loves us. We believe that He gave everything for us. Oh, listen. Yes, you have saved. You have heard me. I believe. You have searched every part of me. And you love me. I believe. And you have opened us. We believe. Yes, we believe. Yeah. You have broken the chains. We believe. Yes, we do. We believe. Yeah. We believe. Woo. Oh, we believe. Yes. Somebody shout it. We believe. Woo. Yeah. Oh. And I believe in what you say, in what you do. I believe, yeah. In what you say, I believe it, I believe it. In what you say, and what you do. I believe it, I believe it. In what you say, in what you do, in what you say, in what you do, in what you say, in what you do, in what you say, in what you say, in what you do, yeah. In what you, in what you, in what you, in what you say, in what you do, in what you tell me. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. Yeah.
Her teaching, it was quite an insightful session with her. Amen. And as we begin to round up 2024, we felt it was nice to bring her back because today is the last session of L.E.A.D for this year. In December, there is no L.E.A.D. Praise the name of the Lord. In December, we'll be praying every Sunday morning during the L.E.A.D hour. Who agrees with the last speaker? So that window will take it just to pray towards the end of 2024. So this morning, we have our resource person in the house. Ove, how are we doing? We're good to go. Super. So the topic she'll be speaking on is starting and sustaining a medium and small. Am I correct? Is it medium and small? Micro? Okay, micro, small, medium enterprise. Thank you. Praise the name of the Lord. I was saying to the volunteers upstairs that in Nigeria today, everybody needs an alternative source of income. I want to plead with you, open your ears, because she may not be here next Sunday. We may not even have too much time for questions. So if we can't take all the questions, please, we will gather the questions together, we will send to her, and as she responds, we will share with us on various platforms. Is that a deal? So Jesus, with Jesus' joy in your heart, please can you join me as I welcome to the microphone Mrs. Francisca Msme. Morning, ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's an honor being here once again. Thank you, ma. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Okay. So my name is Francisca Msme. Sorry, there's an error there in the spelling. I just noticed it now. So I'm a small business owner, like most of us here. I run My Foodie Agro Limited. So at My Foodie Agro, we support small food business owners with agro services. So we offer dehydration services, equipment leasing services, and product packaging for those that want contract manufacturing and for exports and the rest. And we also have a retail arm where we sell food products, quality food products, and deliver to our clients. That was where we actually started from before we now grew and progressed to offering agro services to other food business owners. So what I'll be sharing will be part of the experience while trying to grow my business, the mistakes, the failures, and everything in between while trying to grow the business. So I'll be making lots of reference to my business while we share. So the topic I was given was starting and support and sustaining an MSME. Please, the slide can start. So Pastor has already explained what MSME means. It means micro, small, medium-sized enterprises. And most of us are in that category. And there's, the slides are not moving fast enough. So based on few statistics, they said MSME represents about 96% of all businesses in Nigeria. So it means that not all of us who work in the multinationals, in the big companies and the rest. Eventually, some people will have to start their own businesses, and then we'll still need to recruit people. Imagine here having 10 people running their own businesses, and we're able to at least employ 3 people. That's additional 30 hands being supported and being helped. And then we're able to support our own families with whatever we're doing. And then they said MSMEs also contribute about 84% to our national GDP, and then to national employment, and 48% to the national GDP. We've already seen the importance of MSME. For those we create employment for, even for ourselves, we've created additional source of employment for ourselves and for those around us. And then we're also supporting our local economies, because some of the people we're going to employ will be people around us. So that's the statistics. The next slide is the statistics based on Smidan's categorization of how SMEs are being categorized. And then you can see where you fall into based either on the number of people you have and your asset base, what you have. So now fully into starting an SME. Before you even start a business, one of the first things you have to do is idea generation. It's either you have an idea or a business opportunity. And some of these ideas come in either through when you observe needs around you, or through personal interest, whatever. Because one of my businesses came about through observation. That's the agro, where we provide support services. We actually started the retail arm first of all, but with time, we discovered that there were lots of people, that was after COVID, that were coming into the food sector. Now, the challenges they had were the high cost of equipment. They couldn't get this equipment to process some of their food products, to dry them. And I had them, I was using it for my own business personally. So I started getting some requests and calls like, I heard you have a dehydrator. Can I please use it to dry some items? So at first I was like, no, but when the demand now increases, we started offering it just by the side gradually. And the demand now increased, and from one we have two, and there's a third one coming. And it now became like a full-fledged business where we now offer other packaging services and other agro support services to these business owners. Now that's about observing your local needs. For the other one, my food shop was out of a pain point. So that's another way you could discover an idea. It could be something bothering you around your environment, or a passion you have, something you love doing that you know that you can actually do it even when you are not being paid for it. Probably for somebody that loves to cook or loves to bake, you can use that as an opportunity to develop your business and grow it. But before you start, you have to go into research to find out who are the people that are actually going to buy from you. Who are these people? And then where are they? Where can I find them? There are competitors out there in the market. So what are they doing and what can I do differently from these people? So that's another way you can do your research. And then you find out trends. So what's happening in the market? How can I position myself better and the rest? And then before you now launch out, you now have to discover, okay, what's that thing that makes me unique? What am I going to tell my people outside, or my audience outside, to make them see why I am different, why I am special, and the rest. So that's where you now start developing your value propositions and the rest. Then you now define your goals, your objectives, your target, and the rest, what you want to achieve. Now, by the time you start doing all of this, you're already planning the business on what you're about to start. And that's where, I know some people say, writing business plan is outdated. But for me, I believe it's important because it helps you think through what you're about to start. It helps you like organize your thought, put things together, run your analysis. Even though most times we don't use some of the things we wrote down in our business plan, but putting it together helps you to think. You forecast and see, okay, sometimes I go through the business plans that I prepared previously, and I'll be like, we have made progress, we have actually changed. Even though some of the products and services we offer, some of them have changed, but at least it has helped us grow. And then by the time you put your business plan together, you're now good to go. And then you commence your business operations, and you're out there in the market. I know that's where some of us are. We are making sales. We have people patronizing us. You have your first customer. You have your second customer patronizing us. Now, where the challenge now starts is when you start growing and your revenue starts increasing. And that's where we now have to learn how to sustain the business that we have started. Our business plan. Next slide, please. So that's where we now learn how to sustain the business, because at that time, you now start thinking of, okay, I need to recruit, I need to bring in people, and then you need to start teaching them. At that stage, if you're not patient enough, sometimes you feel, these people are wasting my time, because it's something you're used to doing yourself, and then you now have to bring in somebody. It requires a lot of patience for you to start teaching. But the truth is that if you don't bring in those people, you might end up running everything yourself, exhausting yourself, getting tired. So that's the importance of trying to sustain the MSME. So by the time the business grows, you have time to focus on other things that are important. And one of the things that is most key when you're growing your business is bookkeeping. You now have to start becoming conscious of your books, because that's what we advise people. Like, for me, when I started far back then in 2017, I have my records till date. It was something I was lucky to have learned. There was a training we went through when we were to access some funds. So they made sure we went through those trainings. And they gave us a template. It was an Excel template to impute our figures. So they taught us how to write our figures down, and your revenue and the rest. So I had a book where we recorded. Then at the end of the month, I transferred to that Excel. That Excel remained till date. It was about last year that we now moved to a software. So you notice that bookkeeping is actually important. Why is it important? That it helps you every month, every year, you check your progression and see, okay, where am I now, or where I started from, how far, and the rest. Because that's what helped me most times to discover and say, oh, I'm not making profit. So what am I going to do better? So bookkeeping is actually very, very important. That's why I tell people, I have friends, then we are in the same sector, in the food sector. And when she told me that she doesn't record, I said, no, it's not good. You need to actually record. It helps you. She'll be like, no. But at least she has improved now. So she was like, it's quite difficult. I know that's one of the challenges. I took her time to go and learn about bookkeeping. The truth is that, yes, I worked in the banking sector, but they just taught you how to use their software in and out. I read microbiology, so I didn't know anything about accounting. All I knew was, okay, you click this button, it debits the customer, and you click this, it credits the customer. So after leaving the sector, I had to now take extra steps to understand, because then I started seeing different numbers. Especially when we were being trained, they will tell you about gross margin, they'll tell you your revenue, cost of goods sold, and the rest. And sometimes they can be all confusing. Even up till now, some of them are confusing, but those things are important, because as your business grows, you need to understand your numbers. You need to come back and look at your figure and say, okay, this is what I'm doing. How do I now increase my margins? Because that's one of the challenges we had then. In food sector, our margins are normally very narrow, because one, the competition is high there, and then almost everyone is doing it. So you need to manage yourself well. So I discovered that, yes, our margins were quite narrow, and it was quite difficult for us to make profit. So we began to put steps in place to help us increase our profit. Now, that wouldn't have been possible if we didn't keep our books. You will now feel, oh, I'm selling, don't worry, money is coming in. But at the end of the month, you don't know what is happening. Budgeting is another thing that is important for us, because as business owners, we have expenses, everything here and there. Now, keeping budgets, at least for every month, you say, okay, this is what I intend to spend for this or this. It helps us plan ourselves and what we're supposed to do. So that at the end of the month, you know, okay, whether you actually met your target or you exceeded your budget. Cash flow management is very important, because sometimes if you're not liquid enough, your business, you can run out of cash, and then your business, you will not be able to operate your business, because we all need cash to run our business. There are some businesses that involve lots of credit sales. Now, if you're not able to track yourself so well to notice that, oh, I have lots of people owing me outside and I don't even know what's happening. You don't have cash. You think you're making sales. At the end of the month, you see, oh, how many million in sales, but where is it in your account? It's not translating into fiscal cash in your account. And then as you also grow, you have to now start taking your taxes seriously. And that's really important. For us, when we started as an enterprise. And then when you're an enterprise, there are some things you can easily get away with because you're a small business owner. But when you now become a limited liability company, you now have to take your taxes seriously. If not, they will come for you. We've had letters from FIRS and the rest. So paying your taxes, filing your VAT, and monthly, it's very important. So as you start growing, these are some things you now start taking note of. I just took time in financial management because that's where most people struggle with, because as they start growing, they don't take note of these things. Now you now have to now start improving your business operations. In improving your business operations, it now helps you to streamline your operations. You're now able to start recruiting people that can now handle some sections for you. So for me, what I do now, before I recruit you, I now look at the area that are not my core, things I'm not supposed to focus on. Like when we started the grocery delivery business, I was doing everything myself, from the shopping to the packaging to the delivery and the rest. And one of the things I knew that I had to also or give to somebody when I employ, first thing was the person has to now handle the shopping of the items. And so when she came in, I had to now start teaching her, okay, this is where I get, this is where I buy, this is what I do. Now, one thing I did while trying to start up is, because I was very intentional about it, was the business account. That's the first thing they'll teach you, how to have your business account. So I had a business account, the main account where revenue comes in, the money comes in. Then I created a sub-account. Now, for that sub-account, that's where all of the expenses go out. The sub-account has an ATM card. So she doesn't need to come to me always to say, Ma, even if I'm not around in the shop or wherever I go to, there's an ATM card, they know the PIN. The ATM card is not linked to the main account. It's just linked to the sub-account. So I found that account wherever I am. She takes the card and goes to the market and buys and comes back. And then when she comes back, she now has to, there's a book already provided, and I've taught her, this is what you now have to, you now write how much you spent and what you've bought. Now, last 2 months, I was away from the business from 6 weeks because I had to undergo a medical procedure. Now, a few years back, it wouldn't have been possible. That means I would have shut down or closed the business for that period. But during this period, things were moving. What I did then, because I knew I would go for it, so I started preparing and training them on what they should do. So each person knew what they were supposed to do. As soon as an order comes in, this person knows that it's her responsibility to pick up the list and go and shop. The other person knows, okay, she has to attend to the customers and create an invoice and then give to the person that needs to go to the market. She buys and rest. So while I was away, I would see the debitor light, but I knew that, okay, when I come back, there will be an explanation for this particular debit from this account. And when the balance is running low, I move money from this because money is actually coming into the revenue account. So I'll move money into the expense account. So it's even easier for people that run audit for us. So at the end of the year, I just print the 2 statements. This is for revenue and this is for expense. When they have issues, I can say, yeah, we bought this, we did this, we did this. That's one of the things that has helped us. And that's how you start putting structures in your business. You start putting processes. So you don't have to stay and say, there's no money. I need cash for this. I need cash for that. They already know, okay, that with the ATM card they can take. And then whatever they withdraw, there will be an explanation for that. And then when I come back, when I now resume back, I was now able to look at it. And then I now check the expense, whatever she bought. And then the sales for that day. Did the customer actually ordered for these things? You check the records, and yes, the customer ordered for those things, and they were delivered to the customer. Now, this is what has been helping us, where I don't have to carry everything on my head and the rest. So, and then another thing I did that also helped me was when I was starting, I was quite intentional. At first, I was using my personal number, but I realized that one day I want to step down and somebody has to run the affairs. So I got another line solely for business, but I was the one running it. So it was like the business line. So when I now had to drop the phone because I had to go into the theater, somebody took over. I already trained her. And then she was able to now, customers were able to transact with them, even though some of them knew that the tune was kind of different. They say, this is not Francisca. Some of them we asked. In fact, there was a time somebody said, no, I have to hear her voice to be sure that the business is still hers, that I'm not paying to somebody else. But that's the processes you create. Now, what this does for you is that as you're growing, there are some things you now have to let go because your attention will be now focused on other things. Strategy is there. You have to now start setting new goals for expansion, for growth. So these are the things that process improvement does for you. You now start streamlining your business affairs and the rest. Now, as you start growing your supply chain, you have to also start improving it. So what we're doing now, because when we started, yes, we were buying small from here and there. But now as we start growing, you have to start looking for where to buy in bulk because it's going to help your margins, because that's one of the goals we had, to increase our margins, because when your margins increase, then you'll be able to make more profits. And rest there, we'll have to now manage our costs. And then I will now start looking for how we can streamline our operations, reduce our costs, improve our supply chain. And then as you start growing, staff training now becomes very, very important because, like I said, it requires a lot of patience when you bring in somebody, especially somebody like me. When I started with the lady that is handling customer service for me, sometimes I want to jump in and you're not responding fast, you're not doing it well. Then something will hold me and say, you have to be patient with them. Give her time to learn, to understand. So it takes a lot of patience to be able to actually teach them. Yes, you do a lot of talking, but the thing is that at the long run, it's going to help you to be able to move on and handle other things you're supposed to do. So we train them. So what I do with my people is that on Monday mornings, we sit down, we have meetings, and we discuss. And then we talk about, first of all, when I started the meetings with them, is to teach them about the company values, our core values, goals, our target, why I started it, and what I want to achieve. So I look at all of those things and I tell them that, yes, we're not just running normal, just come, buy, sell, and go. No, there's a goal, there's a target. There are people I'm looking up to, and this is how I want to be. I want, in the next 5 years or 6 years, we have another location open and then we are growing. But the thing is that you have to start learning and doing what those people are doing. And so that's what I put my mind to. I said, okay, if I really need to start growing, then I need to start stepping away gradually from the operations, you can now start supervising what happens in your core operations. So I know, okay, if I need to focus on other things, like marketing should be what I should be focused on, then the operations side, I need to teach them what actually happens in the business so they understand it. So even if I'm not there, they know that, okay, once an order comes, this is what you do. This is how we check for quality checks, and this is how we package. And then she has a list for delivery guys to have to call. She calls them and the rest. So while I was away, yes, I was able to guide them on some things through phone, but activities went on smoothly. And yeah, there were challenges here and there, but they were all things we were able to resolve. So like I said, we have Monday meetings where we discuss, and I tell them all of this. You now see, okay, they are believing. Some of them are now looking up to and say, okay, there's something about here, and then they are looking up to something that they want to achieve within themselves personally. Then another thing we do is we sit down. If there was any issue the previous week, we sit down and find out why this particular thing happened, why there was a hitch in the previous transaction or delivery, why it happened, and then what are we going to do better so it doesn't happen again. So that's very important for us. So our goal for next year is training, because I'm looking at, okay, if they're going to be handling some responsibilities on their own, they need to be trained on those things. So that's one of the targets, both online and physical trainings. It's very key for your staff to improve their competence, and then it's going to actually help you as you start growing as an SME. The truth is that starting up is very easy, especially when you're doing it yourself. But when you start scaling, when you start growing, that's where the challenges comes in, and that's where we now have to now start being more careful and more intentional. Another thing you need to adopt when you start growing at technology is technology. Technology is very important. It helps you. Like I said, when I started, I was using Excel. And the truth is that using Excel sometimes, yes, it helps you to keep your records. I discovered that then stock taking took me a while, like 2 days before we could finish stock taking. But now with the software we use now, I use Zoho. There are other bookkeeping software out there that you can use. With the software now, it's easier because things have been posted. We can finish inventory stock taking within a day, in less than how many hours you've counted, because the system is there. So if there's any disparity, we'll now start going through the checks to see, okay, what happened. It's not exactly a perfect system, but it makes life easier for you. So that's why they say adoption of technology is quite important, having the bookkeeping tool. And then your CRM tools, if you want to, you can start where you can now start keeping records of your customers' details and how to reach out to them. There are other software tools that you can also use that can help you improve your business efficiency. And that is it. Then when you start growing as an SME, something else we are keen about is customer service. Because I tell my people, like, I don't joke with customers. Starting my business, we didn't do so much of paid ads. Most of our customers came in through referrals and then people recommending us and those coming back. For me, I'm more concerned about people that have patronized us. I try to check if they are coming back. I look out for repeat patronage. And so we have had customers that have stayed with us for a very long time, 3, 4, 5 years. They've been buying from us. They're so comfortable. So if there's a particular product, they just go there. So it's all about service. It's even next year we're trying to say, okay, let's start exploring paid advertisement. Because then I wanted to understand the business. I wanted to understand the process. For me, I'm not someone, I don't like rushing things. I don't know if it's more of a perfectionist life, but I want to be sure that when customers come in, we're able to serve them well. And when they leave, they are happy and they can recommend us to other people. So I always had this fear that if I start running ads too early and I have an influx of customers, I may not be able to handle that demand. And then when you start having failure in service deliveries, that one flies faster than even when you do good. So I am very careful to ensure that, okay, let me have the number of customers I can manage now. Then by the time we're able to stabilize our internal processes, we can now have that influx. So that way, I'm not the only one, because there have been errors when I was doing things alone. Sometimes errors in calculation when I'm sending to a client, or errors in other things when I'm doing. So now when you have proper internal structures, you know everything does not rely on you. As it comes in, there are checks and everything. So it helps you grow faster. So checking your internal process and everything matters so much. And then customer feedback. Something else we do is that most times when we do a delivery, when the customer receives them and all, we send them a message to ask them if they're okay with their delivery, and then if they have any complaint at all, they should let us know. Then some of them respond and say no, and while some will sometimes tell you, oh, I had this challenge, and then when I say okay, because those complaints help us to improve, to know how we can do better next time. So that's why we ask for customer feedback, customer responses from us. Something else we also do is for customer, for marketing. As you start growing, you discover that the number of customers you serve, as in, will start increasing. Then you have to now learn how to start segmenting your customers. We have variety of customers, and the way you talk to this particular, in terms of your messaging out there, it's quite different. We have corporate customers we attend to. We have customers in the diaspora that buy things and want the items sent to them. We have individuals here. I have single guys that buy. So the way they buy their things is quite different from somebody that is married. She knows what she wants. The single guy sometimes will tell you, I want to make stew. What and what ingredients do you think I need? You know, in that case, if you're not patient, you'll be like, this guy, they waste my time. But sometimes I'll just sit down and say, okay, for your stew, you can buy this. But I say, is it okay? Okay, I'm trying to lose weight. What else? Can I, which vegetables and the rest? You see that this particular person needs guidance. Yeah. So you now need to start segmenting your customers to know how you can start talking to those people. And that's one of the goals and targets we have, because now that we are growing, we now realize that there are different segments of customers. So the way we talk to them and our messaging has to be different. It doesn't now have to be flat to everybody out there. So when you're targeting, you know exactly who you're targeting. Because for us, sorry, go back to the slide. I'm looking at the time, so yeah. So for us, our target, our goal is to ensure that we're able to attract the kind of people we want to attract. Now, one of the errors I made when I started was trying to be everything to all customers. Anybody that calls me and say, I want this, I say, yes, we can do it. And then you start rushing, you do this. And I discovered at the end of the day, sometimes you're running at a loss, or you're so stressed, and it doesn't equate to, as in the money you get does not equate to the amount of stress. So as we started growing, I began to discover that, no, these are not the kind of people I want to target. These are not the kind of people I want to do business with. So you can now politely, what I do sometimes is that I refer them to friends who can handle that, because I have other people we're in the same community that they do that. There's a particular service that we continued recently, and I've had people call and say, I want this, I want that, and I tell them, sorry, it's not helping our bottom line, but I have people I can refer you to. We've stopped doing this. But there are people that can also deliver on that. So that's what we do. So you look at all of those things to help you. And then you also look at the market trends as you grow, because things will be changing. There are some products we have stopped doing, and there are some things we have added to help you remain innovative and in the market there. And I've mentioned training your workforce, even for yourself. Always seek knowledge, because what I believe is that the kind of information you have while starting your business, the knowledge you have, is quite different when you start growing it. You start looking out for, you must go out there to get additional knowledge, because by the time you start having 5, 10 staff, your process will change entirely. So you need to go for these trainings. For me particularly, there are people I look out for. Now my goal is, okay, in 5 years, in 6 years, or in 10 years, we will need to have 2, 3, 4, 5 branches of my fiduciary. So where are those people that have like more than 2 or 3 branches of what they are doing? How good are they doing? I try to follow these people. I watch them. I see what they are doing. I say, okay, so if they have courses, I buy their courses. I try to be in their circle. So that way, when it's time for you to now get to that stage and do it, you have learned a lot from their experience. It helps you to minimize mistakes. That's what we do. So training is quite important, even for you as a business owner. You don't stop learning. I have personal training targets and goals too for myself. And then networking, mentorship, and partner. I put it together because all of this has to do with relationship. You cannot build a business alone as an island. No, you need other people around you. And so I encourage people sometimes to go for events that will really help. When you go, have a target in mind, what you want to achieve about that particular event. It's not every event out there that you just have to start going. For me, when I started, I was attending lots of events. But currently, there are some I now look out for. I said no, because I now realize that some of them are some things I've already done before, especially if you're just starting out and the rest. So you have to now be strategic about the kind of events you now have to attend, conferences, you go for exhibitions and what you want to achieve for the exhibitions. And then for partnership, most times when I go for exhibitions, I look out for other business owners because I like to partner with people a lot because it helps me with my business. For example, the person I distribute his palm oil for, I met him at an exhibition stand. He was a young guy, like 4 or 5 years ago. He just started production of his palm oil. And then I knew that I had customers that also buy these food products from us. So, and I didn't want to stress myself with thinking about where do I go source oil, because palm oil is one of the products that can be easily adulterated out there in the market. They mix it with some form of dye and the rest, and they're not good. So I needed someone who is conscious and knew what he was doing or what they were doing and building. So I reached out to him. I noticed his packaging and the rest. Yeah, he was still young. He was still in the basic stage, but he had, will I say, prosperous stuff. So I met him, yeah. So I met him, we discussed. I bought the oil, I used it, and it was really nice. So we signed a deal. So I became his distributor. For the past 5 years, I've been selling his product. In fact, when I said that, somebody came and said, why are you selling another person's oil now? You can package your own. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go through that stress. I have to source for the oil, get the bottles, package it, look for labeling. That's time going. I don't have that time. There are other things I could do with that time. I buy the product, I add my margin, and I sell. So now what that does for us is like a symbiotic relationship for I and the guy. For him, he now focuses on manufacturing. It helps him. He focuses on production and the rest, and then trying to get other distributors. While for me, he helps me get quality product for my customers, so I don't have to worry about what my customers are consuming. So I tell them, yes, the product is okay. Then it now helps me to think about the next thing. So I see it as like a partnership between two of us. I benefit, you benefit. My customers also benefit from it because they also pay me money and I get it. So that's where partnership is. There are other people I also partner with. So when I go to an exhibition, I see your product, they are okay. I reach out to you, and then I see what we can do. I buy your product first, I test it. If it's very good, then we can sign the deal. I've done that recently with one other lady. There are other products I distribute that make spices. That's another thing. I was like, no, there are things I don't want to really bother about. For my food shop, we want to just focus on the retail aspect, the sales aspect. If our customers have access to the quality product, then we can partner with people that can do that. So that's where partnership comes in. And then for friends, there are friends that you can collaborate with, either people who are before you. Because one thing I've noticed sometimes people do is, you see somebody that is doing so well, instead of trying to say, okay, how do I learn from this person? You now start becoming envious. It happened to me, and when I was struggling basically a long time ago, and I was like, what is it that she's even doing, said that is special? But I now realized that was envy. I had to really pray about it. I said, no, God, I don't want envy to rule my life, because sometimes you might be missing out in life when you allow that to rule your life. Yeah. So I had to take out time, and I prayed about it. Like, no, I want my own breakthrough. I want to actually have my own path and the rest. And it worked out. I discovered I think clear. So recently when we were moving to another location, as in a store location bigger than where we were before, I was so scared. I was like, man, the rent here is over 4 times what I'm paying before. How am I going to manage? I knew that it was time for growth, time for expansion. But when I found it, I became scared. I was like, wow, what am I going to do? But I now remember this lady. She has gone far ahead. And where she's using a bigger facility. So I now called her. I was like, see, I just found this space. It's perfect, but I'm scared. So she now smiled. She said, I've been in your shoes too when I moved from this location, because I knew where she was in another location. And so we sat down, we discussed numbers. And that's one beautiful thing about having people in your community. We talked about numbers and we discussed everything. And with that, I was confident. And she said, we can try this. And the truth is that since we moved to this location, revenue has gone up. Our operations are better and the rest. And that's why I said relationship is key, because sometimes when you're going through some things, you need these people around you to talk to at all times. And then improving your strategy for expansion. When you know it's time for growth, you improve your strategy. Now, for SMEs, we always have challenges around us: access to finance, high cost of product and the rest. Then as we're growing, this is when you now have to be conscious about seeing, okay, where do I now start sourcing for funds? The last time I came, I spoke about grants. It's not easy, but you can start trying them out. You can start attending training programs. What those training programs do for is that at the end of the program, most times they put you in groups. And some of these people have information about other funding opportunities. There are lots of groups I belong to. If it's not funding, but it's training, those trainings can help you expand and open your mind. And then you now know where else I can go source for funds. You can also source funds either from family and friends. Now that the business is growing, it's now easier for me to meet people and say, oh, okay, see what we have done. I will need additional funds for this, and it works. So that's it about when you're trying to sustain an SME. There are so many points out there, but these are like few of the points that I'd like to note when you're trying to sustain an SME. Next slide, please. So in all of these, just few points. I'm almost rounding up. that we need to note as SMEs when we're growing our business. For me, I look at my audience because I don't want to waste time talking to people that are not my customers. So you really need to, especially when you're in the food space where there are lots of people there. So you need to know how you can actually talk to people that you want to target. So understanding your customers is key. Then, if possible, you can start with niching, as in a particular product, few products you can start instead of stretching yourself. That was one of the errors we made then when we started. We were trying to do everything. Like, yes, I can do it. But I realized that no, we were expending so much energy and we're not achieving much. So I was like, no, I'm going to focus on this. Then I look at for other friends around me that are doing something else like that. So I was like, okay, if they come to me, I can't deliver. I tell them, okay, this person can do this. That's one thing I do for customers. Like, if you reach out to me, we don't have it, I'll ask you, do you want me to recommend somebody that can do, somebody I know that can deliver? I do that. So it helps you not to stretch yourself so much, especially when resources are limited. So you can now focus on what you need to do. Seek partnership. I've spoken about partnership and then collaboration with other people. It actually helps you a lot. So I don't stress so much with getting products or other things I need to do. I'm in a community with other entrepreneurs. And then one thing we need to learn is that failure is part of the process, the growth process. I have failed so many times. In fact, I've gone down to ground zero so many times where I was so broke and the rest. But the thing is being consistent, pushing ahead, and you keep going. When you fall, you get up and then you continue going. You try to learn, okay, what are the mistakes I made? There are some strategies that will not work. There are strategies I applied in the past that didn't work. It cost me money, time, energy. But what do? I just go back home. There are sometimes I try to step out. There was one time I tried to get a location at Fruit Garden. It was a blunder. It didn't work out for me. I realized that that's not how I actually wanted to run my business, to position it. So we had to go back home because I started from home and then before where we were before and then where we now moved to now. So it's a gradual process. So even when your strategy doesn't work, you go back and think about it. And then you can also discuss with people around you and read up, because I like to read a lot to learn. I buy books a lot and I like to read. Yes, and then identify your brand voice. And for this one is important. For us, our brand, I want when people come close to us, they know that, okay, that's one thing that has helped us a long while. I want to be seen as a caring brand, a brand that has empathy. For you, it could be a fun-loving brand. I'm not really a jiving or jump, but if that is your own kind of way you want to be represented, yes, you can do that. For us, it's a mix for us, but we want to make sure that when customers come to us, they feel relaxed, they feel at home, and they're able to know that this person can listen to me. Because we have some young guys, they'll be like, please, I hope I'm not disturbing. I said, no, it's okay. I'll need help with this particular thing. I want to make this. What do I buy? And the rest. And the way you relate to them patiently helps them to now relax and they're able to come back. So that's how I want to perceive the brand as. And I tell that to my staff every time when we have our meetings, that customer service is key for me. I don't want to come here and see you talking. There was somebody I had to let go because of her attitude. Now, I don't want to come and see you talking to any customer anyhow. Yeah, there are some customers that are rude, but there's a way we can tactically let them go, and then we don't attend to them anymore. But customer service, your brand voice is important. Integrity is key for me in whatever we do and when we serve our customers. Recently, there was something that happened when I wasn't at the shop, and then we had this product that comes, because most products come 12 or 24 when they are packed, but this particular one came in as 48. So when I came, they were like, they sold quarter carton to this customer. And they said we gave the customer 6. I said, 6 is not quarter now, 12 is quarter. So the customer had gone. Luckily for us, I knew the person. So I had to call the person back and say, you were not given the correct quantity. Please come back and take the money. The person was actually surprised, but that is how I want my brand to be seen as. I know making profit is good, is more money in our pocket, but there are some, it's not money. Everything is not about money for me. That's the thing. It's about doing the right thing and how it's supposed to be. At that point in time, what the customer was supposed to have gotten is 12 and not 6. So the good thing to do is to either give the customer back what they want, or you do a refund to the customer. The customer picks okay to come back and take the other products remaining. And then be hungry for growth as an SME. Don't just remain at that level where you are, where you say, okay, I'm okay with this. If that's what you want, okay, fine. But if you are envisaging growth, then seek knowledge. Look out for people that are ahead of you. Try to get into their circle. You can pay for their courses. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. Okay, there are things I don't know. How do I learn this? As you grow further, you need to learn about structure. You need to learn about processes. Where are the people doing these things? How do I learn this from them? When you now get to 10, 20 staff, corporate governance becomes something you have to learn. So where do I go and learn all of this? Because you're trying to build something sustainable, something that will outlive you. And that's what we do. Now, for me, I see entrepreneurship as a calling for me. So whatever I do, I make sure I put my mind into it. Even for the people that work with me, I make sure that they are being developed both personally and spiritually. So I talk to them and the rest. And then it has helped me. In fact, when I was away for this period was when I experienced the highest form of loyalty to my staff, because the day before I left, I was not telling them, please, I will not be here physically, as in I won't stay this long. In fact, the plan was for me to stay away for just 2 weeks, but I didn't know that the team will take recovery will take about 6 weeks for me. But I now told them, please, my everything is here, my investment. Please, you push your handle it well. Don't destroy it for me. And they were laughing at me. But that period, I experienced high level of loyalty from my staff. Like they put in their effort. There was no day I got a call from customers telling me, your shop is closed though, they have not come. Like as early as when they're supposed to be there, they are there and they close. Even when they need to stay extended time, they are there. You understand? And I realized that sometimes it's when you invest in them and show them that you care, they show you that care in return. And so there was one time when I was at home, when I was still recovering. So the person making purchases went to somewhere to pick up some things. Now, I had spoken to her. She didn't tell me she wasn't feeling well. She didn't say anything. So it was a person she met that now called me and said, this your staff is not feeling well. She couldn't even stand well. I was like, are you serious? She didn't tell me. So I called her up. I was like, I just spoke with you. You didn't tell me you're not feeling well. She said, man, no, I didn't want you to get worried because I know you're still at home resting. If I tell you now, you start getting worried. I was like, no, don't worry. The business will be fine. I'm going to recover and the business will be fine. Just leave everything you're doing. Go home and rest and take care of your son. So I asked her, okay, go run some tests and the rest. And the medical bills were now covered. You get, and now that one made her happy, and then she came back stronger and better. And now these are the small things that we can do for them that shows them that okay, that you care. Sometimes I see that and I discuss with them. I was like, okay, I know you're smart, you're intelligent. What's your goal? Do you want to just end up? What do you want to do? And one tells me, okay, she wants to write jam and the rest. I was like, okay, that's fine. So you just plan yourself how you want to do it because growth is so important. So because at a time they might start feeling stuck with their lives and the rest. So it's to show them a pathway to grow. And then, and that thing I do is I try to be intentional with whatever I do. Like if I know, like I mentioned the phone number thing, I knew that one day, when I said I was using my personal line, but I realized that one day I will want to step out from operations. I want somebody to handle calls. So will I be handing over the personal line that I want to use for it? So I said, no, the business, that was some years back, a long time ago. So I had to get another line dedicated to the business line. And I was using that call, using the phone as in for business, handling it myself. So now it's easier for me now. When I was leaving, I was able to drop the line. Even though, people knew I was the one behind line. But when I dropped it, I knew that I had my personal line. So sometimes when they reach out to her and they say, no, I want to, probably if they are friends that have been buying from me a lot, because there are some customers that have turned to friends from a long while. So they'll be like, no, I want to hear Francisca's voice. So she will not ask me, ma, should I send your number to this particular person? I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, you can send. Let me talk with her. And I talk with them and the rest. So it's for everything. It depends on what your goal is, what your target is. You try to be intentional and start growing it, even while you are small. Because sometimes people think that putting structure is only for big organizations. It's not. As a small business owner, even if you have 2 people, you can start. Even if it's 1 person, just define the person's role and let the person know what they're supposed to do. Then as you grow, you can now start defining more roles. And then last but not least is prayerful, be prayerful. And that's the advantage we have as believers, that we're able to pray, ask the Holy Spirit for grace. He helps us, directs us, orders our steps. And that's one of the secret weapons that I've been using, that sometimes when I have challenges, when I have issues, I know I can go down on my knees in prayers. And then I know I'm going to get answers. There are sometimes I just be at home and something drops. Why not try this? And then you try that and it works. I'm like, God, now, wow, this is good. Actually, when I was looking for the new location, I just prayed. I said, Father, this is what I want. A place like this, like this, like this. So I called the agent. I told him, this is the kind of thing I want. He said, madam, this kind of space you're looking for, I don't think you can find it here around this area. I said, just start. Let's start searching. It took us about 2 months. We kept searching and searching. But I kept praying. I kept telling myself, I know something like this exists somewhere. Father, I know, just show me. And the way we found the place, in fact, I'd already seen somewhere else. It wasn't exactly what I wanted. I had met the landlord. We had spoken. So as I was about going home, because I wanted to go to the transfer, I heard within me, go back to that route you came through. So I went back to the route. I was like, but we've driven past here like 2 times now. So, but I dropped off the agent and the rest. So I now went through that route again. As I was driving, I now saw a small notice, shop to let. I was like, is it for real? Shop to let. So I now got the number we called. Immediately I entered there, I was like, wow, this is it. As in, like, I didn't even wait a second thought and the rest. And I was like, this is it and the rest, and I paid for it. So that's the beautiful thing about prayer and trusting God for it. And then finally, the last slide, that's the last before I now round off. So I'm looking at the time. Growing a business requires patience. It requires lots of diligence. You make sacrifices. There are times at night you have to stay up at night trying to keep records, trying to either create content or just think, or you want to lie down, you now remember, there's something I have not done. And that now keeps you awake. So you now have to like get up and then go and then work on it, or you just sleep through and then start dreaming of it. But it requires lots of patience. Yes, you're going to make mistakes. Yes, sometimes you're going to fail. Sometimes you're going to cry. I know so many times we have cried, things don't work out the way it's supposed to be. You're going to lose money. But when the benefits come, you will see. I know these days people tend to celebrate you when you're successful, when the business is growing. But me, I like to know like the challenges you went through, the failures, the mistakes, what were they, and how were you able to overcome them. That's what I look at for more than the successes and the appraisal and the clapping of hands. And these days where the social media is there, people tend to post just the good side of it. But no, sometimes that other bad side might also help somebody else going through the process. Like the last time I came, I shared that there was a time where flat broke, like I had to start borrowing. We sold off our car because things were so tough. The business crashed and everything. But at a time I was like, okay. In fact, I wanted to give up. I was just tired in 2020. It was my manager where I was working, my manager then in FIRSTBANK, when I was working there, and I called me and said, Francisca, I hope you're not sleeping. I said, ma, this thing is not working again. I'm not doing again. He said, please get up from there and go and start it. This is your opportunity. People are looking for those that will shop for them and you're here. You get? So sometimes you just have to like go back and push yourself, even if it's looking like it's not working out. We just keep growing step by step, one step at a time. It may just be only you today, it may just be one person, but just have that goal and target what you want to achieve, and just keep taking it one step at a time. You make mistakes, you learn from it, and you grow, and then keep seeking knowledge. Thank you. Understand?
Thank you, Ma. So, let's say someone sees an opportunity to open a business, a service business, but does not really have expertise in that field. And from the point of launching the business, would need to employ a staff. So, apart from record keeping, I mean, after training the staff on how to record, how else do you really monitor business operations from afar, especially when you as the owner, you have maybe like a 9 to 5 job. So how do you monitor business operations? We are not praying for it to dubious staff, but then how do you still monitor this from afar?
Okay, so for a service-based business, right? So what I will actually advise is, for me, I would say, okay, look out for people that run service-based business, their trainings, try to learn from them. They might have 1 or 2 staff, because that's one thing I do first. Like if I don't have experience in this area, I go seek out somebody that has done it, gone through it, and made that mistake. It helps me minimize that error. So look out for the person and try to reach out and discuss with them to help them. I don't exactly do a service-based business, so but that's one advice I would say: seek out the person and find out how they're able to do it and are able to overcome that particular challenge. Because yes, you're not there, and then you need somebody to cover up for you. And is there a way you can use technology to monitor what you do? I don't know if it's possible, but we can also look out for that, using technology to monitor that. But what I advise is to seek somebody that has gone through that experience and try to learn from the person. That's what I would advise.
Can I just also chip into it? Okay. Honest counsel, don't jump into something you don't have a clue how it runs. It may be a passion in your heart, but take time to do your personal study to understand what you are walking into. At least have that basic understanding. Don't just employ somebody and say, come and do this for me. You'll be in a mess. Yeah. Any other question, please? Business people, me. You are not talking, no. Or your business is thriving. Solomon, you are not talking to. Yes, ma'am.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Suppose you start a business. You are a child of God, and God has asked you to start the business there. And then you go there to start it. You see that the people around you there are not godly at all. Anything you do, they want to frustrate you. What do you do?
Amen.
Okay. Okay. For me, that's why I mentioned where prayer is quite important, because for me, what I'll do is to go back in prayer to ask God to direct me on what to do, to help me like make the right decision. Am I to leave this place and look for another location? Because he has told me that he will give me peace at all corners. So I want to go to where there will be no contention, where I will experience peace and rest. So I go into prayers to know if probably the location might be the wrong place and probably need to move to another location. For me, I haven't really, okay, probably when I was at Fruit Garden, yes, but at the time I realized this is not how I wanted to structure my business and I had to move. So I would advise prayer. I don't know if any other person has,
Again, I will refer you to Daniel. I don't think Daniel was amongst friends in the Bible. So it's an opportunity also to shine as light in their midst. Except God says move. Maybe God put you there to influence them to turn into new personalities. So sometimes look at it from that perspective. But if God says move, what should you do? Move. And that's what comes back to what Mrs. Msme said, that you have to be prayerful. But always understand that if you're in the midst of people who are not doing right, maintain your place as light. That's why the Bible says you are the light of the world, and trust that your light will give them light ultimately. All right? Yes. Oshoki has a question. After that, we'll come to me. That's the last one, and we can run.
Thank you. Yes, mine is not really a question. It's just something I learned from her, and I just want to amplify it a little bit. So thank you very much for what you said. If I just want to throw this tip, and it has to do with those that will be in a service delivery kind of business. Now, apart from the financial management skills, apart from the networking skills, your personality will also come into play a great deal. Now, there is no way you will be in a service delivery business and you will thrive with a bad personality, because business is one area that really shows who you are, your character, your personality, and the way you relate with people. There is no way you'll be able to network successfully if you don't know how to talk. As wonderful as she is now, assuming she's selling things, if you decide to go and buy something from her, she has a very nasty personality. Even if she's selling gold at ₦1, you will never want to go there. And I can tell you that some people have gotten big business breakthroughs just because of their personality, their charm, just like we taught in L.E.A.D. They are affable, they are receptive, they can listen to you. And even when they are making mistakes, the way they apologize and start all over again, you want to do business with them. So that's why they say that before people buy your business, they buy you first. If they don't like you, they don't like what they see, if they don't like what they hear, no matter what you are selling, they will not come back again. So we need to work on ourselves, work on our personality, the way we talk, the way we present ourselves, even the way we sell. If you can work on that, as I say, you can sell snow to an Eskimo. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I wanted to share a short experience of something I noticed one day online. I think there is this lady that sells thrift. She sold a particular product to somebody. When she marketed the product, she didn't indicate that it had stain, and the product now got to the customer, and the customer now told her, this white shirt, I'm seeing a stain. She was like, I go and wash it night to go. She said, but you didn't tell me. He said, what is it? Is it because of this small money that you paid me that you're not complaining? Wash it, you get. And the annoyance is that she now screenshotted as in their chat.
She did a screenshot and posted on her page, telling her friends, she was like, imagine this customer, this just one shirt, and they can't stress me for. And I'm like, no, this is not how you treat a customer. You don't come and start putting their chat out there. That kind of customer may want to ignore you, but she will not refer people to. Instead, anybody that mentions, I want to buy treat from this person, she will just say, no, see what I bought from her. The bad news will fly faster. So that's actually very important. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ma. At least you were talking about things I've been trying to tackle for some time now. But I want to ask this question. How are you able to do different things? I'm into food. I'm doing food. So how do you do different things? It's very wide. So how do you manage to do different aspects of food?
So like I said, at first when we started, you stretch yourself. So look for that place where you are so good, as in where people know you. Like for us recently, I discovered that doing food gifts and baskets was something that we did very well. And people began to know my food shop for that. There was a time somebody requested for something and they were like, I wasn't even there. They said, no, my food shop. And that's how we got the referral for those things. So just choose a particular section where you know you are good at. Focus on them. Now, if you have requests for those other sections, you find people in your corner. You can either partner with them and get those products from them. That's what I do, that I don't stress myself so much. Like I have people, if you need to buy beans flour, pap and rest, I don't do those things because I know I won't have the time to start doing all. It will stretch you and resources are limited. You're doing some of the things on your own. You will break down. So I just partner with friends because I know, yes, her products are good. I've used them very well. So why would I want to start doing, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, just do something. So I partner with them, I collect their product, they give me at a discount, and then so find out that place where you know, okay, people know you for. There was a time I used to sell even dry fish and rest, but I now realized that I buy these fish, I have to store them in the freezer, it's consuming power, it takes a while for me to sell off. I said, no, I'm going to discontinue buying fish. So when the orders come, I just speak on demand. But I have products that move very fast off the shelf. So I focus on those particular products. And those other ones that don't move that fast, that ties up my finances, I partner with friends that handle that. And then it's easier for me. So just look out for products that...
Amen. So, May, that simply means focus on Nkwobi. Amen. But I know May is into catering. But what I understand from her, for example, you may have orders for a whole event. You may choose to outsource small chops, for example, to a friend you know can deliver value to you so that your focus is on maybe the main dish. You can also outsource maybe salad or whatever. That's what I understand from what Mrs. Msme has just said. Can we celebrate her, please? How many agree that we should bring her back? Who is in agreement? Only the business people. If you are not doing business, you are missing plenty of things. Amen. Can we give her one more round of applause for... So we'll take the opportunity to... I think that's your husband, right? The way he's saying, God, don't let him call me. Don't let him call me. We will call you in Jesus' name. Amen. But you're welcome. Thank you for releasing Madam to us. We celebrate you. God bless you. It's also an opportunity to invite you to share fellowship with us today. And if you choose to join us, I think we have a teens church for your daughter if she's a teen, and we have a children's church for your son, except you are running away immediately. But I think service starts practically right away. So with that, I would say to you, if you have any more questions, please come to me or drop your questions on the Enterprise 360 space. We'll get the questions to her, and then we can post back in that place our responses. With that, can I encourage you to move forward if there's an empty seat in front of you, and we go into service? I'd like to call on, is this Samoski now, or who is...